Hey there, I am back with another deck review, and today we're going to be looking at Hello Tiki V3 from Montenzi. Tattooing has held a deep cultural and spiritual significance among the indigenous Maori people of New Zealand for centuries. Known as tamoko, these traditional tattoos are more than just body art. They serve as a visual language that tells the wearer's life story, tribal affiliations, and even personal achievements. Tamoko is a reflection of the Maori people's strong connection to their land, ancestors, and a profound respect for the art of storytelling through these intricate tattoos. Each moko design is unique, mirroring the individual's identity and heritage while embodying the rich history and traditions of the Maori culture. Now, New Zealand creator Montenzi has used the Hello Tiki series to celebrate the unique artwork of the Maori people. And this latest version of a now 3-part series seeks to take things to the next level. Now, Montenzi's decks have long been a staple in my own collection, and in particular his experimentations with foil through his bold artwork have always made these decks really stand out to me. So let's see what the New Zealander brings to the table with V3. This deck comes in a hefty 6-deck series. This is sort of the ultimate version of the deck. You have a mini version and then 2 standard and 2 gilded versions of the deck. So a lot to take a look at this one, but I will say they're all kind of variations on a theme. So let's spend a little bit of time unpacking with the standard versions of the deck, and then we'll get a chance to peek at the other versions as well. And we'll start off here with the white version of the deck. As you can see on the back here, this is called the white premium version. Now the decks are done in a matte finish, but it's actually a 2-layer effect that's really unique to Montenzi. They're done with a layer of foil, but then to keep the foil from being excessively shiny, a matte finish is applied over the top. So you get a nice glow from the foil, but it's not super reflective like you see with some foil. It's a really cool effect, and I love the design work on this one. Of course, the patterning you see here is inspired by those moko tattoos, the curves and linear bits in here, just tons of kind of organic feeling patterns on here. And these are made to look like the tattoos that you might find on some of the indigenous Maori people. Beautiful look to it overall, the mixture of the silvers and the reds against that white background. And I just love how it shines in the light, the silver almost disappearing at certain angles and then suddenly reappearing as you tilt it. It's a beautiful effect. I love how the matte finish on here really plays into it. And that design wraps all the way around the tuck box, top, bottom, all the way around. And then on the back of the tuck, you get a little bit of copy on here, including the name of the deck, Hello Tiki. Of course, this is V3 of the deck. Name of this specific version, the white premium, and then a bit of ad copy on the bottom. Mentions these are printed by Cardamundi and of course produced by Montenzi. Beautiful look to it. The pattern continues on the inner flaps as well, and then you get a nice solid red color on the interior of the tuck. It's a beautifully done tuck, and like I said, that foil, just a really unique effect on these. But let's check out the cards, and the foil doesn't stop with the tuck box. If you look at the back design, we'll see this back design is fully foiled as well. So just a white card and then a mixture of the red and the silver foils on here. Just a really bright, unique look to them overall. Love the design work. It kind of has a very classic and yet modern feel at the same time. Again, paying tribute to those moko tattoos. Beautiful curls and almost kind of like a spade pit making its way out there. Just really beautifully designed overall. Love that back design, and then finishes with a kind of broken white poker border around the edges just to complete the look. So really like how that turned out. And then into the cards, and you get a quartet of jokers, and of course each one of them is going to be inspired again by those tattoos. So usually when you would see the tattoos, they would even go all over the face, all over the skin. They could be pretty much anywhere on the body. And the jokers here really show that in a beautiful display. Almost made to look a little bit like one of the Maori that's been all tattooed up, but those curves kind of form everything. The hair, the body, all made up of those organic looking curves. Really beautiful look to them overall, and then kind of a bit of a color change. So one of them has the sort of red hair here for the red joker, and then this one has the black hair. That black, by the way, not metallic. Just the red on this one is the foil on this. But really cool look to those. The other 2 jokers are a little bit plainer, just have joker in the center, and again, kind of surrounded with more of that beautiful design work. So there's the 4 jokers that you get in this one, all labeled specifically as jokers. The aces in this one, so there is the 1 power ace, the ace of spades on this one. Again, heavy hits of that red foil. Beautiful kind of curling font there used for the index in the corner. And then the pip you'll see has a little kind of shadow of red there at the top, kind of a cool effect. You get the name of the deck, Hello Tiki, of course the limited edition nature of this one. And then the other 3 aces are a bit more standard. They do have a custom pip in there, and it's a bit larger than the ones that we'll see on the number cards. The reds, again, given hits of foil, beautiful look to them. And I love how the negative space is used for the curves in this one. You can see it really well in the diamond and the heart in particular. So you still get those curves making their way into pretty much every aspect of the deck, even the fonts, the negative space on the pips, just a really cool effect. There's your club. I really like that. Just the 3 swirls making up the 3 leaves of the club, and then your heart. So there's your aces. The number cards are similar in shape. The pips here is what we saw on the aces, just obviously smaller. Again, on these black ones, I love the little accent of red foil on these. I think it gives it kind of a unique look. And, you know, again, you kind of, some lights almost disappears, but then you tilt it and that red just gives you kind of a nice little pop of color as you turn it in the light. So there are your spades into the diamonds. Again, with that little curl in white on the corner there. And then the clubs, my favorite of the pips. And just like the spades, these have that little tiny hit of red foil in them. So you get foil on pretty much every card. And then into the hearts, which I will say look a lot like upside down spades. So I don't know, maybe that's something that'll be confusing to you, but I think the color on here, more than enough distinction so you can tell the difference. And then we get into the court cards, and the court cards are just really riveting cards overall. Again, kind of paying respect to the Maori people who would use these tattoos to celebrate some of their life accomplishments. And usually when they would make these tattoos, they'd be unique. All the curves would symbolize something. So, you know, a specific curve might represent when a child was born or a particularly significant battle that you fought or something like that. And they would be kind of made to form the lines of the body or conform to the lines of the body. And you can see that taken next level here as the curves kind of organically make their way from the skin into the body, into the hair, just really kind of forming one flowing pattern all throughout the card. It's a really beautiful effect, nicely accented with 2 colors of foil here. We get both red and silver foil. And the character, of course, made to look like a powerful Maori warrior. Beautiful image there, the determined look on his face. You can even see kind of a spear in his hands there. Just a beautiful look overall. And then the 4 jacks in the deck are all just sort of variations on the same character. So very similar pose, but it's not a repeated by any means. You'll see, like, you know, different weapons in the hands, slight differences in the clothing. It is probably a little closer to repeating than I might like, but each one does have kind of a unique vibe, and there's so much going on in the cards that doesn't bother me too much. But differences in the hairstyle there, that one looks really cool. Almost like a helmet that he's wearing in some sort. As you go to the queens here, you'll see kind of the same thing, just given a female character on these. Again, really powerful, almost angry look on her face, but really cool look to these. Just love the flow of each one of the cards. And then into the kings, and this one almost looks like a wise chief of some sort. Has kind of an older look to him, whereas the jack looks like the younger one of the 2 to me. I don't know, that's what it looked like to me. But really cool look, and again, those hits of the red and the silver foil really set things off nicely. And that is the deck. So just one of the 6 versions of the deck. So we'll set the white premium version aside, and we'll take a look at the second one here. This is the second standard version of the deck. This is called the retro premium. Really similar style of artwork, but you are given a new set of designs on this one. Still making use of the reds on this one and the silvers, but this one has kind of a bluish black background and a much heavier use of the reds on this one. So I almost think of this one as the red deck in to my eyes. But same idea, everything continuing all the way around, still has that foil matte combination. And then the ad copy on the back just has the different name for this version of the deck. Otherwise, very similar, continues all the way around, get the red interior, but the cards are switched up as well to give you kind of a different look. So new back design on these, more use of the red, so a little bit heavier handed on the red, but you get little hits of the non-metallic black here along with the white to give you a really kind of distinct feeling design. Beautiful look to it. I think I like this one a little bit better. The reds, I think, really kind of set this one off nicely, but you still get that nice organic white background on these. And maybe a little bit hard to see on these, but this shade of white has just a tinge of red in it. Let me see if I can get these side by side so you can see a little bit of the difference. So you'll see here's the pure white of the white deck, and then just that slight tinge of red. And I think that's what gives this one its what he called retro when he named the deck, but a slight different feel to the deck overall. You might be able to see it even a little bit more here on the faces, because that same thing continues. So you'll see not quite as bright of a white color, that slight bit of red, really kind of a cool effect on these. It's almost in the back of your mind as you look at it, but really kind of works quite well. So there's your two face jokers on this one. Again, slightly different design, but a lot of similarities to what we saw on the other deck. And then this one has an ad card for Montenzi. So instead of a third and fourth joker, this one features an ad card with another design on it and a double backer on this one. So a couple of differences we'll see as we go through on this one. The aces, so you still get the one power ace with a beautiful spade inspired design here, and then Hello Tiki at the bottom. The other three aces, though, are the same design that we saw on the other version of the deck. So both the white and the retro versions of the deck have the same number cards overall. No differences on these, but still all the elements that I loved of the previous version. So we'll kind of speed through these. And then the court cards as well. I think there's a few slight differences, like the foil applied in a few different areas, and there may be a few little design element changes, but overall, these are extremely similar to the ones that we saw in the white version of the deck. So not a ton of differences as you go from one to the other, but for me, this is the superior version of the deck. I love that slightly reddish background, or the almost pinkish background. I think it gives these a really unique feel to them overall. And I think for me, this is my preferred version of the deck. But again, we are still not done. We are now at 2 of the 6 versions of the deck. Now the next 2 are a little bit quicker, just because these are just gilded versions of the previous. So we have the white gilded and the retro gilded decks. Similar artwork, but a little bit larger scale, I guess I would say. So the standard versions have a more, I guess, more compact design, whereas these are a little bit more spaced out, but same color schemes used on them as before. You'll just see they're denoted as the gilded version on the back. And as you open it up, the cards themselves are the same. The only difference is that these are going to add some beautiful silver gilding. And I got to say that silver gilding is brilliantly done. Nice shiny look to it overall, and a great match with the cards themselves. So no other differences on these. Same exact cards all the way through. Also printed by Cardamudi, just like the others. And same goes for the retro version of the deck. Still has that same gilding color. So this one, silver gilding, which matches nicely with the back design of the cards and the foil used on the cards themselves. So that's 2 more versions of the deck. So we're up to 4 versions of the deck of the 6. So we have the 2 standard and the 2 gilded versions of the deck. So let's get these set aside so we can take a look at the last 2. And the next one I'm going to show is the as you can see down here, the red ultra version of the deck. This is sort of the piece de resistance of the entire campaign, the nicest version of the deck, and you'll see why in a second. First off, a new design here, again, still inspired by those same curves. Beautiful twisting patterns on this one. This is my favorite pattern of any of the tuck boxes. And again, making use of that foil and matte combination, just like on the other decks. But the real change comes when you open up the deck and you check out the inside. This one, like the 2 gilded versions, is also gilded in silver. Beautiful look, but the cards are completely flood foiled, edge to edge foiling on these. The mixture of the red, the silver, everything shining with that beautiful glow in the light. Same beautiful patterns, and they just take on a real depth and life to them as you turn it in the light. As you hit different reflections, and parts of the image will disappear and reappear in the light. It's a really cool effect, and that red border is just stunning on these. And faces of the cards are fully foiled as well. So not only do you get new designs on these, but you get that full red foiling. And I love the stripes in here, the slightly different color that gives you kind of a background watermark sort of effect on these. But overall, beautiful cards, and that red foiling just really adds something new. Design work on these is changed slightly, but again, kind of a similar vibe to what we saw on the other cards, just some slightly changed artwork to give it a little bit of a facelift. But really that background with the red foil just makes this one feel like an all new deck, despite the fact that it's only minor changes compared to the previous ones. So every single one of these foiled, you get so much more shine in these. And some slight variations. You'll see the pips look a little bit different than before. And then as you get to the face cards, even though it's very similar artwork, it just looks so much more powerful to me with that red background. The red foil, the shine all the way throughout. And this one, basically the whole character is made up of silver with the colors kind of breaking it up a little bit. But against that red background, these look even more impactful and powerful than the other versions of the deck. So this one gotta be the best version of the deck for my money. Just absolutely beautiful artwork on these and great color usage throughout. So that is now 5 out of the 6 versions of the deck. Only one more to go after having taken a look at the red ultra version of the deck. And the last one's a bit of a fun change. So kind of step away from the foil for a little bit and get a mini version of the deck. So you can see here the size comparison. I don't know, call it about half the size overall of the larger deck. And this one, unlike the others, so all the other decks were printed by Cardamundi, but this one's printed by WJPC. And WJPC, particularly for their mini decks, can't do the same foiling technology. So this one has a bit more standard of a feel, but kind of made unique just with the miniature version of the deck. And you can see it still has that matte finish, but no foil underneath. So it doesn't have quite the same shine, but very similar design work. And as you open it up, interior flaps kind of continue that pattern on this one, just like before. And then as you open it up, you get into the, of course, miniature tuck, miniature cards as well. New design work on these. Again, these don't have foil, so this is just ink color on these, but still kind of has a fun vibrance to them overall. So no complaints on how the cards themselves turned out. The blacks and the reds on this one against the white, still forming that really fun pattern. And then as you get to the cards, we're going to see again changed artwork. So similar on the 2 jokers, we get an ad card and a double backer. As we're going through these, despite not having foil, still has a fun vibe to them overall. And most of this looking pretty similar to what we saw on the other decks, just sans foil, just one color on the spade pips there. But there is a complete change when we make our way to the court cards. So we'll kind of speed past these number cards here and get to the courts. And the courts, you'll see here, kind of go away from doing the Maori warriors and instead have these guys here. And these are what are called Hello Tiki. Hello Tiki, which obviously kind of lent its name to the deck, were the embodiment of the first men according to the Maori culture. So they have their own creation myth. And the Hello Tiki is a pendant, basically, that they would wear that has an image of the tiki, this little guy here, as just a reminder of their creation story. So they're common there. And you'll see that Hello Tiki emblem on all of the different court cards. Slight differences as you go from one to another, but very similar poses overall. So you can see all just different variations on that same character used for each one of the court cards. It's a fun look to it overall. He's actually used these characters in some previous versions of the Hello Tiki deck, but I think they're really cool, and I love the change using this one as opposed to the warriors that we'd seen in the other versions of the deck. And there you go. We've finally gotten a look at all 6 versions of the deck, closing things out with the mini version of the deck. All in all, it is a fantastic series. You know, I don't know if every single person needs to pick up all 6 versions, but gotta say, you should treat yourself to 1 or 2 of them. I think they are a fantastic deck overall. So anyway, that is the look at Hello Tiki V3 from Montenzi. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'll put a link down in the description if you want to try to pick up a few of these decks from yourself. Montenzi has some available on his website. I can't recommend them highly enough. Like I said, may not need to get all 6, but go pick up a couple. You won't regret it. It's a really vibrant, fun, unique, and interesting deck. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this one, and make sure to subscribe for more deck reviews, more unboxings. Let me know what else you want to see, and I'll see you for the next one.